For her, Herndon, they were pulling me down. For my Herndon year, they were pushing us up.
The decision was, is this really where I want to go?
It's leaving one lifetime, but it's carrying another mantle and becoming a part of a larger organization.
Try to fade into the woodwork. You didn't want to stand out.
There were times when we got more attention than we wanted.
We didn't have a lot of mentors or role models.
I wish that the amount of dehumanizing behavior had not happened.
I was too scared, too stubborn, and too stupid to quit.
You're doing this for the greater good and for a higher purpose and a higher mission.
The first female brigade commander was Julianne Galena. She was
selected to be the first female company commander.
First woman to qualify on the yard patrol craft.
First female double major.
To do it again, I would say absolutely not. Once was enough.
remembering some things that were really difficult, but then also feeling so much joy.
Challenge became the most rewarding. I never had any doubt that I wouldn't finish what I was going to accomplish because they accomplished it.
My mother's second husband went to the Naval Academy and he said, next year they're going to start accepting women. And so he encouraged me to check it out. And I knew absolutely nothing about the military.
It's the weirdest thing, because when I was a kid, I used to watch the John Wayne movies. And I was so impressed by the camaraderie and, you know, really patriotism, doing something for your country. So I knew I wanted to serve in the military.
Most of the senators and representatives would not nominate to the Naval Academy. They nominated to the Merchant Marine Academy. But one, Lindy Boggs, actually gave me a nomination.
We went to serve our country. Daddy said, you're going. We didn't have any money. I mean,
it's hard, even for me, to remember what it was like in the 70s. But women couldn't get credit cards in their own names. Let's say women were being pushed out of the Navy if they got pregnant. You know, it was just a different world. None of us imagined being a midshipman because, first of all, we didn't know what they were. You know, there weren't any women midshipmen. There wasn't Title IX. We didn't play sports in high school. To come in to the academy, unfortunately for me, it was the first time I'd run a mile. You know?
I didn't realize that it was going to cause such an, I want to say, uproar. And all of a sudden, everybody's like taking pictures, you know, pointing, and I'm thinking it was just going to be like going from high school, which was co-ed.
I was part of second company, so when we marched in that first day, I-Day, we had 2 other females with me. So all 3 of us marched in together out of Halsey Fieldhouse. As you might suspect, the notoriety, the media just went bananas on that. And it was just surprising. None of us expected that kind of reaction.
This is my reef points from 1976. In this version, there were no pictures of women. There was no mention that women were even going to be entered into the Naval Academy that year.
My class, the class of 1980, came into an academy where women couldn't serve in combat, where there was a profound belief that we could not lead a predominantly white male Navy.
Since Congress authorized women to go to the service academies, it's a common assumption with a lot of my female classes that Congress was also going to lift restrictions within the 4 years that we were there. So upon graduation, we'd be able to do what we were supposed to do.
I felt that being there from age 18 to 22 as a young woman, we were really pretty much rejected. I had a great company, you know, the guys were pretty much supportive and stuff, but I also find when I look back on it, it was very lonely.
We really never got together in a very large group, or if it was, it probably wasn't taken in a positive fashion, or we felt a little bit insecure about having all the women together because we wanted to just blend in.
Whether you were male or female, we were all going through a challenging time, and we were here to be developed morally, mentally, and physically to serve as officers in the Navy and Marine Corps.
Well, I spoke to one of my classmates, Janie Mines. We were like, Janie, we were so worried about you. But she said, are you kidding me? I looked at all you white girls and I'm thinking, I know what I'm getting into. I've lived this for my whole life, but you guys have no idea. Honestly, I don't think we tried to be badass. You don't have to be the smartest, but if you have a lot of grit, you can make it. And clearly, the ones who stayed had a lot of grit.
You know, what is a trailblazer? Is someone who is out ahead of the group. You're just making a new path. We were trailblazers. We also knew that everything we did was being inspected, you know, and people were criticizing it. Being a trailblazer, you really need to up your game every day.
Each trailblazer, they don't do it by themselves. There are people with them who beat the path down because otherwise the path closes behind them. So I was one of the, you could call it the beaters. For blacks who had been through, I was another one on the pipeline, and people would see you and go, yeah, I guess we can still do that. In the case of the women, I was always supportive of them because, yeah, they were at the pointy end, and that means they got hit in the face with all the bushes, but somebody had to keep the bushes down once they passed so that others could follow.
And the lesson that I take from that whole midshipman experience is you have to go look for culture. And what do I mean by culture? It's an operating system, much like your computer. It's running in the background all the time. You don't even know what it's doing until it fails.
In one of my summer cruise experiences, we went to the Marine Corps confidence course. They were teaching us how to jump from a one-story building. You shimmy to the edge of the building and you slide down the face till you're just hanging on with your hand in your boot. And they told us that the women didn't have to do it. And I was thinking, I'm not gonna do that, that's for the guys. But one woman did it. And after she did it, I knew I could do it. And I did it and it was super easy. Then I was really mad at myself. Why did I have to see another woman do it before I had enough confidence to do it? And I really remembered that lesson. I was defining myself as a woman and maybe even tempted to apply a different standard unnecessarily.
I faced many challenges that I did not expect and many obstacles that I've had to overcome within myself as I was developing, and seeing and hearing about the struggles that my mom went through and some of the challenges that she faced when she was here, and then going through these 4 years myself. It's been quite an opportunity to live up to the legacy that the women before us set.
Knowing the legacy of those who have come before me, people like Miss Janie Mines, class of 1980, the experiences and the struggles that she had, I get to walk here and I get to follow in her footsteps and be her wildest dream. Those are the things that motivate me, just knowing that I'm standing on the shoulders of giants, and I hope that one day I can also be the giant that someone else can stand on my shoulders too.
I meet the women who are here now and the women who've come after us, and I tell those women who have a hard time coming back, girls, it was worth it because of the women that came after us. They're so incredible, so impressive, so athletic and beautiful, and I mean, they've got it all going on. It's just so gratifying for me to say, well, okay, what we went through was worth it.
I watched Navy women grow in number and succeed in all aspects of Academy life. On athletic fields, Navy women have earned a record of accomplishments in competition at the highest levels of NCAA and collegiate sports. Academically, Navy women quickly forged their way to the top. In every domain, space, at sea, in the air, on land, and in cyberspace, Navy women graduates lead our sailors and Marines with dignity and pride.
I entered into relationships here at the Naval Academy as a midshipman, as the commandant, you know, in my various roles here. They're everything.
Just in the last 20 years of my career as an astronaut, it seemed like everybody that I had the opportunity to work with was a Naval Academy grad. The biggest mentor I had was Wendy Lawrence. She was just awesome. Another helicopter pilot took me under her wing. She's like, you got this. It's really going to be fun, and there's tons of opportunities. Take advantage. Don't be afraid to fail. Just get out there and try it and be successful, and we'll be here cheering you on.
Allyship is huge, no matter if it's the NAMA or if it's the Pride SEG or us, the USNA women. We're all in it together. We all did the Crucible together.
The links that went before them are really there for them to support them and make them stronger. And as much as we're proud of what we did, I just can't wait to see what's coming.
We're in the fourth industrial revolution. This is the knowledge economy. And the differentiator between organizations that succeed and fail are the ones that unlock the power of ideas, the intellectual wealth that's in the room.
Once you change for a new threat, a threat emerges from a different direction in a different way. So you have to be able to be adaptive to face that new threat.
Computers shifting more into AI, we're going to have more automation. It's just going to be probably less
physically demanding and more mentally challenging.
Why do we need to celebrate 50? Why do we need to? And I think somebody said, until we don't need to. Until it's fully integrated and milestones are just common happenstance.
I said it was going to take 50 years for it to be seamless and not have anybody realize, oh, we used to not have women here? And so
We're
now
almost at that point.
We're almost at that point. I mean, it's super exciting.
I am proud to say that I'm part of an organization that has evolved and continues to evolve to be able to do those things. I call this one of the greatest sororities in the world. You are my brothers and sisters. You are brothers and sisters to one another. Walk that way, talk that way.
Care about one another, to be loyal to one another, to respect one another, because the work that has to be done as we move forward is so critical to remain the greatest Navy in the world.